Hello, my dear friends. Welcome back to our YouTube channel. So today we're going to discuss about inner classes and abstract classes and constructors and relationship in Java. I hope you will definitely enjoy this video. So without any further delay, let's get started. Now the first thing we are going to discuss is inner classes in Java. So if one class is existing within another class is known as inner class or nested class. Here is the syntax that shows the inner class. Please note this syntax. The next topic is the main purpose of using inner class. To provide more security by making those inner class properties specific to only outer class but not for external class. To make more than one property of class private properties. So this is the syntax for making the property of inner class as private. Please note this syntax and take a note that no outer class made as private class, otherwise this is not available for JVM at the time of execution. Next thing we are going to discuss is rules to assess properties of inner class. Inner class properties can be assessed in the outer class with the object reference but not directly. Outer class properties can be assessed directly within the inner class. Inner class properties can't be assessed directly or by creating direct object. Note: in special situations, inner class properties can be assessed in the external class by creating special objects with the reference of its outer class. Please note these rules. These are very important rules for assessing properties of inner class. So this is the example of inner class or a nested class. Here we have an outer class. Uh, After that we have an inner class which have a method void show and has a println. It has in a nested class method. After that we have main class. Here we have main method. Here we create the object of inner class and uh, assess the show method with the help of inner class object, and the output would be in an nested class method. Please note this example. Next one we are going to discuss is abstract class in Java. We know that every Java program must start with a concept of class, that is, without the class concept there is no Java program perfect. In Java programming, we have two types of classes. They are concrete class and abstract class. Concrete class in Java. A concrete class is one which is containing full defined method or implement method. Here is the example of concrete class. Here we have hello world class which have a method display and we can print the value as a good morning. Here hello world class is containing a defined method and object can be created directly. Here we can create the object of hello world class and object.display method we can display this method of the previous slide. Every concrete class has a specific feature and these classes are used for specific requirements but not for common requirement. Concrete class in Java. If we use concrete class for fulfill common requirements, then such applications will get the following limitation. Application will take more amount of memory space, that means main memory. Application execution time is more. Application performance is decreased. To overcome above limitation, you can use abstract class. So abstract class in Java, a class that is declared with abstract keyword is known as abstract class. An abstract class is one which is containing some defined method and some undefined method. In Java programming, undefined method is known as unimplemented or abstract method. Here is the example of abstract method: abstract void function and then semicolon. Abstract represent incomplete. That means please note this diagram. This is very important. So this is the syntax of abstract class, and then class name, then parenthesis open, and then parenthesis close, and then after that, this is the example abstract class A, and that's it. And if any class have any abstract method, then that class become a abstract class. Here is the example class vehicle and abstract void bike. Here we have an abstract method, so that's the class is also make the abstract class. Class vehicle is becoming an abstract class because it have abstract bike method. Make class as abstract class. To make the class as abstract class, whole definition must be preceded by a abstract keyword. Example abstract class vehicle, then close. Abstract method. An abstract method is one which contain only declaration or prototype, but it never contain body or definition. In order to make any undefined method as abstract, whose declaration is must be predefined by abstract keyword. Here is the syntax of abstract method: abstract return type, method name, list of the formal parameter. Here is the example: abstract and its return type is void, method name is sum, and list of formal parameter. In the first example there is no parameter, but in the second example there are two parameters of int type. This is the example of abstract class. Here we have abstract class vehicle, abstract void speed method. This is the abstract method. Here we have again the class bike, which extends the abstract class, that is vehicle, and we have void speed method. After that we print the value. Speed limit is 40 km per hour. Here we have a public static void main string argument method. After that vehicle class object is created, and object and it's and after that it calls the function void speed with the help of object, and then the output would be speed limit is 40 km per hour. So this is the example of abstract class. Please note this example. Create an object of abstract class. An object of abstract class cannot be created directly. Please note this. But it can be created indirectly. It means you can create an object of abstract derived class. You can see in the above example vehicle object equals to new bike, that we show in the previous slide. This is the example. You can create the object of abstract class not directly but indirectly. So in this statement you can create the indirect object of abstract class. Next one, important points about abstract class. Abstract class of Java always contains common features. Every abstract class participates in inheritance. Abstract class definitions should not be made as final because abstract classes always participate in inheritance classes. An object of abstract class cannot be created directly, but it can be created indirectly. All the abstract class of Java makes use of polymorphism along with method overriding for business logic developments, and makes use of dynamic binding for execution logic. So the advantages of abstract class: less memory space for the application, less execution time, and more performance. So what is the difference between abstract class and concrete class? So here are the differences. A concrete class is used for a specific requirement. Abstract class is used to fulfill a common requirement. Object of concrete class can create directly. Object of abstract class can not create directly. That means can create indirectly. Concrete class containing full definition method or implemented method. Abstract class has both undefined method or defined method. Please note this difference. These are very important difference. No one telling you that. Constructors in Java. So this is the next topic we are going to discuss. So constructor in Java is a special member method which will be called implicitly or automatically by the JVM whenever an object is created for placing user or programmer defined value in place of default value. In a single word, constructor is a special member method which will be called automatically whenever object is created. The purpose of constructor is to initialize an object called object initialization. Constructors are mainly created for initializing the object. Initialization is a process of assigning user-defined value at the time of allocation of memory space. So this is the syntax of a constructor. Here class name, that means class name. After that, here we have then. And advantages of constructors in Java. A constructor eliminates placing the default value. A constructor eliminates calling the normal or ordinary method implicitly. So this is the example of constructor. Here we have class sum which have int a and b variables. After that we have a constructor which have also the value a equals to 10 and b equals to 20. Here we have sum constructor, and after that the public static void main string, and after that sum s equals to new sum c equals to a plus b. So system.out.println plus c. So this is the example, and the output would be sum equals to 30 by creating that a plus b, and the explanation would be in the example when we create an object of a sum class, then constructor of this class called and initialize a user-defined value in a equals to 10 and b equals to 20. That's how the constructor works. If we cannot create constructor of sum class, then it print sum equals to sum 0 because default value of integer is also 0. Please note this. This is the very important use of constructor. So rules or properties of constructor. Constructor will be called automatically when the object is created. Constructor name must be similar to name of class. Constructor should not return any value, even void also. Constructor definition should not be static because constructor will be called each and every time whenever an object is creating. Constructors will not be inherited from one class to another class because every class constructor is created for initialization its own data members. The access specifier of the constructor may or may not be private. So these are some rules and properties of a constructor. Please note these properties and rules. After that, difference between method and constructor. Very important question for the interview points of time. So let's discuss. Method can be any user-defined name. Constructor must have class name. Method should have return type. It should not have any return type, even void. Method should be called explicitly either with object reference or class reference. It will be called automatically whenever object is created. Method is not provided by compiler in any case. The Java compiler provides a default constructor if we do not have any constructor. So next topic is type of constructor. Based on creating object in Java, constructor are classified into two types. They are default or argument, no argument constructor, and after that we have parameterized constructor. So let's discuss these constructor one by one in the upcoming slides. So the first one we have default constructor. A constructor is said to be default constructor if and only if it never take any parameter. If any class does not contain at least one user-defined constructor, then the system will create a default constructor at the time of compilation. It is known as a system-defined default constructor. This is the syntax of a default constructor: class name, and after that class name, and Here is the block of statement, and this is the initialization part of the constructor, and that's it. Always there is a note that system defined default constructor is created by Java compiler and does not have any statement in the body part. This constructor will be executed every time whenever an object is created, if that class does not contain any user-defined constructor. So the example of default constructor is, in example, we are creating the no argument constructor in the test class. It will be invoked at the time of the object creation. So let's see the example. Here is the example. We have class test. We have two variables, int a equals to b, a or b. Test constructor. Here we have system.out.println. I am from the default constructor. A's value is 10, b's value is 20. After that we print those values a and b, and we create the object of test class, that is t1, and then here is the output of these example. It is I am from the default constructor, value of a equals to 10 and value of b equals to 20. So when the object is created, constructor is automatically called. So that's why the output is rule. Whenever we create an object only with the default constructor, defining the default constructor is optional. If we are not defining default constructor of a class, then JVM will call automatically system definition default constructor. If we define JVM, will call user defined default constructor. Purpose of default constructor. Default constructor provides the default value to the object like 0, 0.0 or null, etc. depending on their type, for example, integer, string or null. So the next one we have parameterized constructor. If any constructor contains list of variables in its signature is known as parameterized constructor. A parameterized constructor is one which takes some parameters. Here is the syntax of parameterized constructor, where we have class name, and the name of the constructor should be same as the class, and after that list of parameters, and the brace is open, brace is closed, and that's the syntax. And the syntax to call parameterized constructor, class name object reference equals to new class name value 1 or value 2, or new class name value 1 or value 2. So that's how you call the parameterized constructor. Next one, this is the example of parameterized constructor. Here we have class test. We have integer value a equals a and b, and we have a constructor which have parameters of n1 and n2 of int type, and after that we print the value that I am from parameterized constructor, and a equals to n1 and b equals to n2. Then after that we print the value of a and b, and that's how the create the object of test class and pass the value 10 and 20. So this is the example of parameterized constructor. Please note this example. Important point related to parameterized constructor. Whenever we create an object using parameterized constructor, it must be defined parameterized constructor, otherwise we will get compile time error. Please note this. Whenever we define the object with respect to both parameterized constructor and default constructor, it must be defined both the constructor. In any class, maximum one default constructor, but n number of parameterized constructor. Note, by default, the parameter passing mechanism is called by reference. So this is another the important note for parameterized constructor. So the next topic we are going to discuss is constructor overloading. So constructor overloading is a technique in Java in which a class can have any number of constructors that differ in parameter list. The compiler differentiates these constructors by taking the number of parameters and their types. In other words, whenever a same constructor is existing multiple times in the same class with different number of parameters or order of parameters or type of parameters is known as constructor overloading. This is the example of this is the syntax of constructor overloading. Here we have class name. Here we have first constructor which does not have any parameter, and after that we have a second constructor which have two parameters, but the name of the constructor should be same. And we have the third parameter which have two two parameters, but the values should be different. And we have another constructor with the data type and variable too. So these are the concept. This is the syntax of constructor overloading. Why overriding is not possible at constructor level? The scope of constructor is within the class, so that it is not possible to achieve overriding at constructor level. Types of relationship in Java. This is the next topic we are going to discuss. So types of relationship always makes to understand how to reuse the feature from one class to another class. In Java programming, we have three types of relationship that they are is a relation, has a relation, and uses a relationship. So let's discuss these relationships one by one in the upcoming slides. So the first one is a relationship. In is a relationship, one class is obtaining the feature of another class by using inheritance concept with extend keyword. In is a relationship, there exists logical memory space. Here we have class C1 and class C2 which extends the class C1, and that relationship is known as is a relationship. This is the example of is a relationship. Here we have class faculty with float salary equals to 30,000, and after that we have class science and extend the class faculty and float bonus equals to 2,000, and after that public static void main method, and after that create the object of science class and print the values of salary and bonus, and call the values of salary and bonus with the help of object. The output would be salary is 30,000 and bonus is 2,000. So very simple. Next one we have has a relationship. In has a relationship, an object of one class is created as data member in another class. The relationship between these two class is has a relationship. There exists physical memory space, and it is also known as part of kind of relationship. Here we have class C1, and after that we have class C2, and the object of one class has a relation the class and the object of another class, and this is the example that's shown. This is the example we are going to discuss. This is the same example, and the output would be salary equals to 3,000, 30,000. Next one, we have uses a relationship. A method of one class is using an object of another class. The relationship between these two classes is known as uses a relationship. As long as the method in execution, the object space exists, and once the method execution is complete, automatically object memory space will be destroyed. Here we have class C1, class C2, and a method void display. And here is the relationship between the C1 object and the C2 class that's shown in the diagram. So this is the example. Here we have class employee which have float salary 30,000, class salary extend employee 30. After that we display the message, and this is the message, and we create the object of salary class and as dot display method called, and after that the total salary would be 31,000. because there is an increase of 1000 bonus and we add that bonus to the salary. So friends, that's all for today's topic. If you are new to our YouTube channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon for upcoming videos. And don't forget to share this video if you like this video. Share to your friends so that they can take the advantage of this video and make the Java concept clear to them. So friends, that's all. Thank you for watching.